All right, guys, today I'm going to be doing a unique type of style of video, which is going to be a Q&A. I'm going to be doing a lot of you guys have a lot of questions for me. I get comments all the time on just more personal side of things, not always just the super valuable bits of business that I talk about on my channel, but sometimes just more the personal side of things and just basic advice sometimes to beginners and whatnot. And some of you guys are interested about my stuff as well. So today I'm going to be doing kind of a Q&A. I threw it up on my Instagram story and I got a bunch of questions. So I wrote down a list of the top questions you guys sent me here. And I'm going to just kind of rapid fire go through them, answer them in as much depth as possible. So let's jump into it. So the first question I got is, where do you see AI agencies headed within the next few years with the industry growth? So that's a great question. And like most services and most businesses, they evolve over time. Like, I don't see the AI agency model being just Facebook ads and AI callers 5 years from now. I just don't think it will. I think there's going to be much better AI platforms and just use cases you can use. Like, at some point, we're going to have full-on automated AI agents that can do tasks within browsers while humans just don't even have to do it anymore. And obviously that's super desirable to implement for businesses that need it. And like everything, when they get launched, when it hits the market, there's going to be a massive learning curve that just local businesses, specifically just most businesses that don't have time to go learn it, they're not going to go actually understand it yet. So they're going to hire someone who does. And obviously that allows massive growth, because what an agency really is in the model is it's just leverage, right? Like, it's just doing basic service-based business tasks, like ads, implementing AI callers, chatbots, etc., and giving yourself leverage by hiring people who are a fraction of the cost that you're actually charging, and you having the upside and the profit. So really what I see in the next few years is a lot of industry just growth, of course, around AI and a lot of the softwares and use cases you can use. And obviously everyone being able to, as they have AI agencies, add better softwares and use cases into their service that they can implement for their clients. And that's personally my long-term vision with it as well. So to answer that question, that at the end of the day is why the AI agency model, I believe, is such a good model to be in, because the future is on your side, and also data is on your side of what people fear, which is AI taking over the world, right? So obviously that's that. Second question I got is, what investments are you looking to make within the next 5 years? And what is the best investment for beginners? So it's kind of a broad question. The next 5 years is obviously a bit of time. Those of you guys that know, I'm big kind of into reinvesting my money. A lot of the money I make, I reinvest it. That's why I still live with my parents. I guess I'm frugal in a sense. Of course, I spend money here and there, watches, whatnot. But overall, like, I'm a pretty frugal person. I invest most of it. But next 5 years, I feel like the answer everyone says is real estate. But for me, I want to give more of a unique answer to that, which is I want to invest in companies, right? Because, having gains and, I guess monthly recurring revenue from or monthly just profits from a real estate project is cool. And I actually just dabbled in my first real estate deal this year, which I'll kind of go into later in this video. But for me, I really think it's going to be investing in companies. And again, around the AI industry. Like, I just think investing in this space is such massive upside if you look at the long-term horizon, that investing in anything else, getting 10% a year, 15% a year, it's like, whatever, right? So for me, companies, and then, honestly, just companies, whether it be smaller companies, it's more like angel investing, and then obviously just public, stock traded companies that on the market that I already do invest in. So yeah. And then when it comes to the best investment for beginners, 100% without a doubt, in yourself. And I know everyone says this, but I didn't understand when people said this when I was starting. I'm like, what do you mean invest in yourself? Like, what is there to invest in myself? Like, it could be anything. It could be better food. It could be your environment, and especially your knowledge, what you know up here, and paying people, who already know what you want to do, and paying them for help. And that's a lot of the growth I've gotten in just my business, I guess, career, has been paying people who have already done the things I want to do and just shortcutting the time horizon. I always say there's no shortcuts in business, but that's about the closest to it, is just going to people who have done what you want to do and getting their take and getting their advice and helping them, or having them help you and handhold you to whatever goal you're trying to reach. So invest into anything: environment, health, food, and then advice and learning and just knowledge, because knowledge is something you're never going to lose. So third question is, biggest lesson for a beginner. So I would say, it kind of ties with what I just said, but the biggest advice for beginners is, when you understand, I think there's a saying, it's like fast money builds ego and slow money builds character. I think it's 100% true. A lot of people look at the short time horizons of, I want to make 10K a month in a few months or whatever it is, right? And that's cool. But at the end of the day, I always knew this, and I said this last year, you don't become a different person when you get the watch or you get the car. Like, that's not what changes you. It's you on the pursuit to those goals. And that's why the people that sometimes take the longest to get to some of their goals end up speeding past everyone else once they start to get that initial momentum. They've built themselves as a character and just themselves deep down so they can go handle the stress or go handle the, the super, no sleep nights or whatever of the business not doing well. And they just burn past everyone else who's been kind of just maybe got lucky or got quick money, right? And when you understand that, you understand you can't lose in business, because every single day, as long as you're waking up, as long as you're learning and you're trying new things, you can't lose. So that's honestly the best advice I'd give, is put your foot in front of the other every single day, regardless of the outcome, and just keep on pushing, even if it feels like the result is super delayed and you don't get anything out of it. Fourth question is, should I run ads on a $500 budget? I personally don't think so. Ads is something I've shined a lot of light onto, especially because this whole entrepreneurship space online seems like everyone does outreach for their agencies. They all do cold calls, which is totally not true. If you look at all the big guys, they're all spending a lot of money on ads. But as a beginner, not having the biggest budget, don't go blow your $500 on ads. Like, have enough money to be able to comfortably afford ads, which could be, I want to say bare minimum $1,500 to $2,000, and not lose sleep at night if you lose it, because it is a gamble. You are gambling, but it's like an educated gamble, because if you set up your ads right, if you follow a lot of the things I say or just other people say online that are trustworthy, you should get somewhere and you should make a return. But if you have a $500 budget, I would honestly stay away. I would do other things that, like I said, the AI agency model is so low capital upfront investment wise. If you go about it that way and you don't want to, run ads, you can start on a couple $100, like just for some softwares. Have an email, have a domain, have GoHighLevel. That's it. And you can do your cold calls, outreach, organic content, etc. And you can still make a lot of money. And that's initially how I started. I didn't start with paid ads. For those of you that have watched my channel, I always did, outreach at the start, and that's how I got my first, I want to say 3-4K a month mark. And then I initially, and then I switched to ads, and then obviously that catapulted me to 10K a month plus. Okay, next question is, how did you get so far ahead, and what did you spend your money on, or what do you spend your money on? So they kind of go hand in hand. So the reason I think I'm ahead of most people, I think that have started the same time I've started, is actually because of partly what I spend my money on. So I'll get into both of these, but I mean, honestly, I would say the reason because I know a lot of people that started the same time I started, and for the most people I can think of, I am ahead of them. I guess monetarily, if that's what we're talking here. The reason it is because I had nothing else, and I know that's like such a boring answer, but like, I had nothing else in my life going for me, right? And that's the deep truth. And when you have nothing else going for you, there's nothing you can escape to for, the business is bad this day, let me go, go to a party with friends or whatever. When you don't have that option, which I personally just didn't, it forces you to only focus on one thing and get better at one thing. And that for me was business, right? I never had, I've kept my friend circle super small, and all I really cared about was just getting, I guess, 1% better every day, as corny as that sounds, and publicly documenting it on this channel, because I knew I did not want to start this channel, upload 5 videos, and then be gone off the earth, because that would kind of just explain, oh, he just quit, right? So that for me was like a social pressure as well. That's why I started this channel. And what do I spend my money on? It's also partly why I'm ahead. There's a lot of people who make some money and they go blow it on Lamborghinis. They go blow it on cars, apartments, all this stuff. And you may see me and Carson, you spend a bunch of money on watches. Sure, all right. But like, there's a big difference between watches that I lose no money, really. Like, I don't really lose money on the watches I buy. And I also get enjoyment out of them. Technically, it's marketing. Like, there's a lot of ups to it, and it doesn't cause me a headache at night. And I have a rule, if I can't buy it 10 times, I don't buy it once. So that for me is the reason why I think I've gotten a bit ahead, because I still live with my parents. I drive a car that's like 20 years old, right? Like, for me, it's not about proving things to others. Like, I bought a $60,000 watch that is not flashy whatsoever. It's steel with a rubber band, right? If I was here to show off to other people, I would be in a crazy scenario. I'd have a crazy car, a crazy apartment, all that stuff. But for me, it just didn't make sense. It didn't seem like it was, I guess, authentic to me, if that makes sense. And that for me is why I think I've gotten a lot farther, because I have heavily reinvested my money into a lot of things I'll probably talk about in a minute. So to answer your question, I had no escape to anything else, honestly, but business. And I want to say smart on how I spend my money. I'm not stupid about it. And I think on 10, 20 year long goals. I don't think in what's the next thing I want in the next month. Like I don't have 1 year long visions. I have 10, 20 year long visions for my life personally. So yeah. Okay. Next question is personal goals for 2025. So funny about that is I set 2020. So every year on this channel, I set new goals. So I did it for 2024. I do a recap of 2023 and then, my goals for 2024, same thing I did for 2025 this year. And I set my goals and I think I just totally underestimated how much I could have done in a short amount of time. But for me, I like my life in phases. So for many of you guys that know or follow a guy named Iman Godzi, he does what's called a monk mode. And I guess I've kind of like emulated that in a sense where the first, I want to say 3 to 5 months every single year, I've made it a habit to just be in like this zone of, it's almost like isolation. Like there's nothing else to do but work. Like I move out, like that's why you guys see different backgrounds in some of my videos and stuff, to fully focus on work and have no distractions. And it's always when I get the most progress done. So my goals I set this year, I accomplished pretty much all of them in the first like 3 or 4 months, which was crazy. So I set new goals in a recent video I posted, or semi-recent. It was a day in the life video I posted. And I essentially just redid all my goals for the year because I just did them all, I guess, too fast. Some of those goals were 30,000 YouTube subscribers. So I want 30,000 YouTube subscribers by the end of the year. I think right now I'm pacing beyond that, so I should be able to do that. I started this year with 2,000, which is hilarious. Now I'm at like almost 20. So that's super cool. Net worth wise, I want to be $1 million net worth by the end of the year. So I'll still be 19 by that time. I'll be like 19 and a half. And that sounds crazy, but it also for some of you guys might sound like, oh, $1 million. It sounds like everyone else has that on the internet. Please understand when I say net worth, I mean you have like a 24-hour like fire sell everything. Whatever you have, assets, stocks, watches, whatever you have, and the money you can have liquid in your bank account. I'm not talking about revenue. What most people talk about online, they flash all these numbers, right? And I'm somewhat of a problem with it on some of my titles, but I clarify like, no, this isn't profit, this is revenue. And then I usually explain like the margins behind it. But $1 million cash net worth myself, personally, the end of this year, that'll be 19. And I am pacing, actually, I think beyond that. So super cool. I want to say like very transparently, I think I'm right around the 600 to 650K mark as I'm recording this right now in the middle of June. So super cool. I started this year 150, 200 or something. So yeah. Next question is new watch coming soon. So watches, I guess, have kind of just been my thing recently. I want to say almost the past 9 months. When I first bought this Rolex, I kind of just dove into the whole world. And then obviously I bought a Patek. But I think the next watch I'm going to buy, maybe in the next 3 months or so, will be like a Daytona. It's going to be one of the Oyster Flex strap. I'll put a picture of it up on the screen. It's rose gold and then it has the Sundust style. So it looks super, super nice. And I'll probably buy like 1 or 2, maybe more by the end of the year, like a kind of basic Rolex Starbucks, it's Submariner. I'll put a picture of that up on the screen as well. And then maybe like I was debating an AP for a while, but I might just hold off on that. I think those 2 watches would be good to have, as I think those are kind of what I'm eyeing up next on the collection that I'm building. But yeah, those are new watches that are hopefully will come soon, and I'll make videos out of it and stuff if when I do end up getting it. But if you guys have any suggestions for me around watches, around what I should get, you guys should let me know in the comments or DM me on Instagram. Next question is, do you read? So no, I don't read. All right, and this is so contrary to every entrepreneur you're gonna watch out there that has all these morning routines and everything. I personally, I can't read, and maybe that's such a limiting belief. And I think one day I will end up reading a lot more, but I look at a book and my attention span is gone. I think my phone has just totally ruined it. And it is what it is. I don't want to read. I'd rather listen to things. So I watch a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. But for me, staring at a book, I just can't, not right now. and I don't do all the meditating. I did journaling for a little bit, and I actually have a journal of like every single day documenting my agency from when I started this channel all the way up to like when I hit like 20K a month or something. Maybe I'll show that in a video, but no, I don't really do any of these kind of regular, I guess routine style, reading a book, journaling. I don't really do all that stuff, meditating. Personally, I just found it like a burden on my mind to block me from getting to work. So maybe this is something I change in the future, but as of now, no, I don't read. Carson, what are your long-term goals with business and life? So this is obviously kind of a broad question. My long-term goals with business and life, like my number in my head personally is $10 million. I think everyone has that number, like when they hit it, it's like, okay, you can kind of go venture out and go do a bunch of different stuff, like start kind of more riskier businesses or just go do a bunch of kind of things you want to do. For me, $10 million net worth, I think, is kind of my number in my head. When I will hit this, I don't know. The goal for me I want to say my standards right now are probably about 25 years old. I think I can do that. And, longer term, like business is one guy I do look up to. And I actually had a video he sent me a video. There was like a way I could get it like a video response with a question I asked him on my channel. His name is Patrick Bet-David. I look up to him a bit. He is, I want to say in his 50s, and he's obviously massively successful. He has a family. He has a bunch of different things that, I guess similar values to me that I have. And I really do like that he, even at his age, he makes content. Of course, he has his own selfish desires to do that, but at the end of the day, like he doesn't have to. He has enough money to vanish off the face of the earth. And, always being in front of the camera is one thing. Like maybe I take a break 5-10 years, like just to kind of escape a little bit and then come back. Or maybe I don't. Maybe I literally just am always hammering or just always trying to get to that point where even if I'm 40, 50 years old, I'm explaining the business advice that I wish I knew as a 16-year-old starting my business, right? And stuff that isn't just so high level to, where I just wouldn't understand it. So personally, that's obviously like my business goals, like I think at some point you just treat it as a game. Like even right now, like I treat things as a game. Like, this year has been just absolutely insane for kind of every aspect in business. But yeah, and then as far as life goes, I mean, of course, like maintaining, being healthy, having a family, doing all those type of things that I feel like most people would say is definitely kind of my goal. And keeping that probably pretty private. I don't think that would be something I'd really show on the internet, but when it comes to business, I obviously do want to kind of be open, as long as humanly possible to just share what I learn in my day to day that I wish I heard when I was younger. Okay. And the last question I have here is, Carson, what do you invest into and what is your investment thesis? I can kind of give like a broad response to this. One thing I've done really well, I think, and you guys watching this, you guys can kind of, I guess, take this if you don't already, is since the beginning of last year, I started what's called dollar cost averaging, DCAing, into stocks every single month. Stocks I believe in. And you can start out as small as $50 a month. All right. Just to like set some money aside, just let it compound, do whatever. For me, I started, I think around $2,000 or $3,000 a month. I started investing early last year. And now that's compounded up to, I invest about 10K a month right now into just different stocks I personally believe in. I don't want to give those away because I don't want to just have you guys buy because of what I say. But last year was an extremely good year for me. As I stated in my 2025 goals video, I made about 98% total gains on all my stock investments last year. And that's where a majority of my money goes, or a lot of it. This year's a little bit different. I obviously have some watches. I wouldn't classify that as an investment, but I invest about 10K a month into stocks, just dollar cost averaging every single week. I buy some, which ends up being 10K a month. And I hold a lot of cash now for big dips in the market. So you guys probably saw like there was a big tariff, that whole situation, tariffs, everything kind of just dropped. I want to say I threw in 40 or 50 grand at least into that whole dip, and I'm up massively right now because of it. It was just because I was so cash heavy and I was ready for the opportunity. So right now I have a lot of cash set aside for opportunities. I'm going to continue to build that up because the market will always give opportunities, and especially because of the present we have right now, it is very volatile. So there's days where you can, I guess make good entries. So yeah, that being said, what I invest in though is really like, it's very long-term, like these aren't things I plan on selling really this year. Like it's maybe 5-10 years from now at least. But yeah, investing is something I think I've done extremely well. And like I said earlier, like I am kind of frugal with my money. I'm probably one of the only people you're going to see on the internet who is making, I guess, the amount of money I make at the current moment, and isn't flashing it, isn't spending a crazy amount, isn't doing all this stuff. I mean, yes, like I said, watches is one thing, but it's very low key. You know, I drive a 20-year-old car. Like, at some point where I probably splurge and kind of, you know, try to blow up a little bit, of course, right? What's the point of working so hard for money if you're not gonna, you know, I guess have fun with it? So yeah, right now I'm just in this building mode, right? I'm building up to this $1 million net worth, which is personally my goal. And I think I will definitely get that by the end of the year. And that's essentially put me in a very, very unique spot where as a teenager, like very few people can obviously say that. And it's crazy because it's obviously all been documented on this channel, which is nuts to think that like you guys could see where I was in every step of the journey, which is just, I'm so grateful to have this channel here. But I would say just last things, ending off this video, is like the goals, I guess, also from me this year, which is something I didn't include, is blowing up my actual audience size. I think you guys will see a lot of me in especially end of this year, or just in the next year. I really do plan on just blowing things up, as I feel like I have a lot to say. Like, one thing of me, I dropped out of school, you know, about a month or two ago. And I said in that video where I dropped out, I was like, you know, I feel like the education system has changed a lot, and I feel like it's almost robbed me in the sense of a lot of the opportunities that I could have had, or that like just were a thing back in the day. But prices are now so high with the, you know, actual volume of people getting degrees is so high that it almost doesn't make sense anymore. And I want to figure out a way, and I don't know it now, but to somehow influence, even if it's such a small 0.01%, of the education market. I want to change it, because personally for me, I feel like education is the reason where I'm at today. It's taken me a long time to learn all the things I have, but if people could have access to even just some of this, what I have in my head, they could change their life and obviously their family's life. And education is so important. Like, I really, really do have kind of like a passion towards it, but I'm just not sure how to change it. Like, I really just, honestly, transparently, I don't. Obviously, you know, I do things, AI agency, I post a bunch of valuable free content. That's cool. That's a step in the right direction. But I think also getting my voice out there is gonna be a massive thing. So a lot of short form content, a lot more, you know, just cool things you guys will see from me. I think definitely this year and next year you guys will see. But that being said, I think that's really it for this video. It was a good Q&A. Again, if you guys have questions for me, I will have my Instagram in the description. It's just at Carson Reed on Instagram. This is where I did this Q&A. And again, for those of you guys that have been following along, I thank you, and I hope you enjoy. And any questions you have for me, I reply to all my comments on YouTube. Feel free to comment. And yeah, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video.